All praises to Ahaya, Wawawak Kadash, Bahashem Yeshaya. That's all praises to the Father and the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Son. Shalom, family. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. I actually plan on doing this a little more often. So if you guys like what I've done with this, then let me know in the comments and I will continue to do it. So what we're going to do is a little thing that I like to call Scripture Before Bed. They are essentially bedtime stories for us. But you know, we still going to get our understanding via the precepts. It's just not going to be presented in my normal lesson format. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys some scriptures right now. I'm going to read off the scriptures, not the actual scriptures, just the book, chapter, verse. So I'm going to read off the book, chapter, verses, and you guys write them down. And before you start listening to my voice, I want you to read these verses. And then as you're listening to what I'm reading, I want you to identify how these precept in the story. And after you're done with listening to this, then if you wish, go ahead and expound on what it was that you put together in the comments. I love you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. So, I want you guys to write these down. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verses 1 through 6. That's Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verses 1 through 6. Mark chapter 16, verse 18. Mark chapter 16, verse 18. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. James chapter 4, verse 7. James chapter 4, verse 7. James chapter 1, verse 3. James chapter 1, verse 3. Leviticus chapter 21, verse 7. Leviticus chapter 21, verse 7. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 27. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 27. Psalm 51, verse 17. Psalm 51, verse 17. Daniel chapter 9, verses 3 and 4. Daniel chapter 9, verses 3 and 4. Psalm 133, verse 1. Psalm 133, verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 6. All right, guys, the precepts are set. You guys get ready. After you finish reading, go ahead and start this video and get right to it. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you, the other purpose of this video, of course, is to put y'all to bed. So if you want to put on something while you go to sleep, put this on while you go to sleep. Like I said, you know, it's like a bedtime story for us. I love you guys. You guys have a blessed night and listen to the story. Listen to the scriptures. And now, let us begin. The Testament of Joseph, the 11th son of Jacob and Rachel. The copy of the Testament of Joseph. When he was about to die, he called his sons and his brethren together and said to them, My brethren and my children, hearken to Joseph, the beloved of Israel. Give ear, my sons, unto your father. I have seen in my life envy and death, yet I went not astray, but preserved in the truth of the Most High. These my brethren hated me, but the Most High loved me. They wished to slay me, but the power of my fathers guarded me. They let me down into a pit, and the Most High brought me up again. I was sold into slavery, and the Most High of all made me free. I was taken into captivity, and his strong hand succored me. I was beset with hunger, and the Most High himself nourished me. I was alone, and Ahiah comforted me. I was sick, and the Most High visited me. I was in prison, and my power showed favor unto me. In bonds, and he released me. Slandered, and he pleaded my cause. Bitterly spoken against by the Egyptians, and he delivered me. Envied by my fellow slaves, and he exalted me. And the chief captain of Pharaoh entrusted to me his house, and I struggled against a shameless woman, urging me to transgress with her. But the power of Israel my father delivered me from the burning flame. I was cast into prison. I was beaten. I was mocked. But the Most High granted me to find mercy in the sight of the keeper of the prison. For the Most High doth not forsake them that fear him, neither in darkness, nor in bonds, nor in tribulations, nor in necessities. For Ahiah is not put to shame as a man, nor as the son of man is he afraid, nor as one that is earthborn is he weak or affrighted. But in all things doth he give protection, and in diverse ways doth he comfort. Though for a little space he departeth to try the inclination of the soul. In 10 temptations he showed me approved, and in all of them I endured. For endurance is a mighty charm, and patience giveth many good things. How often did the Egyptian woman threaten me with death? How often did she give me over to punishment, and then call me back and threaten me? And when I was unwilling to company with her, she said to me, Thou shalt be Lord of me, and all that is in my house, if thou wilt give thyself unto me, and thou shalt be our master. But I remembered the words of my father, and going into my chamber, I wept and prayed unto the Most High. And I fasted in those 7 years, and I appeared to the Egyptians as one living delicately. For they that fast for Ahiah's sake receive beauty of face. And if my Lord were away from home, I drank no wine, nor for 3 days did I take my food, but I gave it to the poor and sick. And I sought the Most High early, and I wept for the Egyptian woman of Memphis. For very unceasingly did she trouble me. For also at night she came to me under pretense of visiting me. And because she had no male child, she pretended to regard me as a son. And I prayed to the Most High, and she bare a male child. And for a time she embraced me as a son, and I knew it not. But later she sought to draw me into fornication. And when I perceived it, I sorrowed unto death. And when she had gone out, I came to myself, and lamented for her many days, because I recognized her guile and her deceit. And I declared unto her the words of the Most High, if haply she would turn from her evil lust. Often therefore did she flatter me with words as a holy man, and guilefully in her talk praise my chastity before her husband, while desiring to ensnare me when we were alone. For she lauded me openly as chaste, and in secret she said unto me, Fear not my husband, for he is persuaded concerning thy chastity. For even should one tell him concerning us, he would not believe. Owing to all these things, I lay upon the ground, and besought Ahiah that the Most High would deliver me from her deceit. And when she had prevailed nothing thereby, she came again to me under the plea of instruction, that she might learn the word of Ahiah. And she said unto me, If thou willest that I should leave my idols, lie with me, and I will persuade my husband to depart from his idols, and we will walk in the law of thy Lord. And I said unto her, The Most High willeth not that those who reverence him should be in uncleanness, nor doth he take pleasure in them that commit adultery, but in those that approach him with a pure heart and undefiled lips. But she held her peace, longing to accomplish her evil desire. And I gave myself yet more to fasting and prayer, that the Most High might deliver me from her. And again at another time she said unto me, If thou wilt not commit adultery, I will kill my husband by poison, and take thee to be my husband. I therefore, when I heard this, rent my garments, and said unto her, Woman, reverence Ahiah, and do not this evil deed, lest thou be destroyed. For know indeed that I will declare this thy device unto all men. She therefore, being afraid, besought that I would not declare this device. And she departed, soothing me with gifts, and sending to me every delight of the sons of men. And afterwards she sent me food mingled with enchantments. And when the eunuch who brought it came, I looked up and beheld a terrible man giving me the dish with a sword. And I perceived that her scheme was to beguile me. And when he had gone out, I wept, nor did I taste that or any other of her food. So then, after one day, she came to me and observed the food, and said unto me, Why is it that thou hast not eaten of the food? And I said unto her, It is because thou hast filled it with deadly enchantments. And how sayest thou, I come not near to idols, but to the Most High alone? Now therefore know that the power of my Father hath revealed unto me by his angel thy wickedness, and I have kept it to convict thee, if haply thou mayest see and repent. But that thou mayest learn that the wickedness of the ungodly have no power over them that worship Ahiah with chastity, behold, I will take of it and eat before thee. And having so said, I prayed thus, The power of my fathers and the angel of Abraham be with me, and ate. And when she saw this, she fell upon her face at my feet, weeping. And I raised her up and admonished her, and she promised to do this iniquity no more. But her heart was still set upon evil, and she looked around how to ensnare me, and sighing deeply, she became downcast, though she was not sick. And when her husband saw her, he said unto her, Why is thy countenance fallen? And she said unto him, I have a pain at my heart, and the groanings of my spirit oppress me. And so he comforted her who was not sick. Then accordingly, seizing an opportunity, she rushed unto me while her husband was yet without, and said unto me, I will hang myself, or cast myself over a cliff, if thou wilt not lie with me. And when I saw the spirit of Beliar was troubling her, I prayed unto the Most High, and said unto her, Why, wretched woman, art thou troubled and disturbed, blinded through sins? Remember that if thou kill thyself, Asteho, the concubine of thy husband, thy rival, will beat thy children, and thou wilt destroy thy memorial from off the earth. And she said unto me, Lo, then thou lovest me. Let this suffice me. Only strive for my life and my children, and I expect that I shall enjoy my desire also. But she knew not that because of my Lord I spake thus, and not because of her. For if a man have fallen before the passion of a wicked desire, and become enslaved by it, even as she, whatever good thing he may hear with regard to that passion, he receiveth it with a view to his wicked desire. I declare therefore unto you, my children, that it was about the 6th hour when she departed from me, and I knelt before the Most High all day and all night, and about dawn I rose up, weeping the while and praying for a release from her. At last, then she laid hold of my garments forcibly, dragging me to have connection with her. When therefore I saw that in her madness she was holding fast to my garment, I left it behind and fled away naked. And holding fast to the garment, she falsely accused me. And when her husband came, he cast me into prison in his house. And on the morrow he scourged me, and sent me into Pharaoh's prison. And when I was in bonds, the Egyptian woman was oppressed with grief. And she came and heard how I gave thanks unto the Most High, and sang praises in the abode of darkness, and with glad voice rejoiced, glorifying my power, that I was delivered from the lustful desire of the Egyptian woman. And often hath she sent unto me, saying, Consent to fulfill my desire, and I will release thee from thy bonds, and I will free thee from the darkness. And not even in thought did I incline unto her. For Ahiah loveth him who in a den of wickedness combines fasting with chastity, rather than the man who in king's chambers combines luxury with license. And if a man liveth in chastity, and desireth also glory, and the Most High knoweth that it is expedient for him, he bestoweth this also upon me. How often, though she were sick, did she come down to me at unlooked-for times, and listen to my voice as I prayed. And when I heard her groanings, I held my peace. For when I was in her house, she was wont to bare arms, and breast, and legs, that I might lie with her. For she was very beautiful, splendidly adorned, in order to beguile me. And the Most High guarded me from her devices. Ye see therefore, my children, how great things patience worketh, and prayer with fasting. So ye too, if ye follow after chastity and purity, with patience and prayer, with fasting in humility of the heart, the Most High will dwell among you, because he loveth chastity. And wheresoever the Most High dwelleth, even through envy or slavery or slander befalleth a man, the Most High who dwelleth in him for the sake of his chastity, not only delivereth him from evil, but also exalteth him, even as me. For in every way the man is lifted up, whether in deed or in word or in thought. My brethren knew how my father loved me, and yet I did not exalt myself in my mind. Although I was a child, I had the fear of Ahiah in my heart. For I knew that all things would pass away, and I did not raise myself against them with evil intent. But I honored my brethren, and out of respect for them, even when I was being sold, I refrained from telling the Ishmaelites that I was a son of Jacob, a great man and a mighty. Do ye also, my children, have the fear of Ahiah in your works before your eyes, and honor your brethren. For everyone who doeth the law of the Most High shall be loved by him. And when I came to the Endocopate with the Ishmaelites, they asked me, saying, Art thou a slave? And I said that I was a home-born slave, that I might not put my brethren to shame. And the eldest of them said unto me, Thou art not a slave, for even thy appearance doth make it manifest. But I said that I was their slave. Now, when we came into Egypt, they strove concerning me, which of them should buy me and take me. Therefore it seemed good to all that I should remain in Egypt with the merchant of their trade, until they should return, bringing merchandise. And the Most High gave me favor in the eyes of the merchant, and he entrusted unto me his house. And Ahiah blessed him by means, and increased him in gold and silver, and in household servants. And I was with him 3 months and 5 days. And about that time the Memphian woman, the wife of Pentaphree, came down in a chariot with great pomp, because she had heard from her eunuchs concerning me. And she told her husband that the merchant had become rich by means of a young Hebrew, and they say that he had assuredly been stolen out of the land of Canaan. Now therefore render justice unto him, and take away the youth to thy house. So shall the power of the Hebrews bless thee, for grace from heaven is upon him. And Pentaphree was persuaded by her words, and commanded that the merchant to be brought, and said unto him, What is this that I hear concerning thee, that thou stealest persons out of the land of Canaan, and sellest them for slaves? But the merchant fell at his feet, and besought him, saying, I beseech thee, my lord, I know not what thou sayest. And Pentaphree said unto him, Whence then is the Hebrew slave? And he said, The Ishmaelites entrusted him unto me, until they should return. But he believed him not, but commanded him to be stripped and beaten. And when he persisted in this statement, Pentaphree said, Let the youth be brought. And when I was brought in, I did obeisance to Pentaphree, for he was third in the rank of the officers of Pharaoh. And he took me apart from him, and said unto me, Art thou a slave or free? And I said, A slave. And he said, Whose? And I said, The Ishmaelites. And he said, How didst thou become their slave? And I said, They brought me out of the land of Canaan. And he said unto me, Truly thou liest. and straightway he commanded me to be stripped and beaten. Now the Memphian woman was looking through a window at me while I was being beaten, for her house was near, and she sent unto me, saying, Thy judgment is unjust, for thou dost not punish a free man who hath been stolen, as though he were a transgressor. And when I made no change in my statement, though I was beaten, he ordered me to be imprisoned until he said the owners of the boy should come. And the woman said unto her husband, Wherefore dost thou detain the captive and the well-born lad in bonds, who ought rather to be set at liberty and be waited upon you? For she wished to see me out of desire of sin. But I was ignorant concerning all these things. And he said to her, It is not the custom of the Egyptians to take that which belongeth to others, before proof is given. This therefore he said concerning the merchant. But as for the lad, he must be imprisoned. Now after 24 days came the Ishmaelites, for they had heard that Jacob my father was mourning much about me. And they came and said unto me, How is it that thou saidest that thou was a slave? And lo, we have learnt that thou art the son of a mighty man in the land of Canaan, and thy father still mourneth for thee in sackcloth and ashes. When I heard this, my bowels were dissolved, and my heart melted, and I desired greatly to weep. But I restrained myself, that I should not put my brethren to shame. And I said unto them, I know not, I am a slave. Then therefore they took counsel to sell me, that I should not be found in their hands. For they feared my father, lest he should come and execute upon them a grievous vengeance. For they had heard that he was mighty with Ahiah, and with men. Then said the merchant unto them, Release me from the judgment of Pentaphree. And they came and requested me, saying, Say that thou wast brought by us with money, and he will set us free. Now the Memphian woman said to her husband, Buy the youth, for I hear, said she, that they are selling him. And she sent a eunuch to the Ishmaelites, and asked them to sell me. The chief captain therefore called the Ishmaelites, and asked them to sell me. And since he did not agree to their price, he departed. But the eunuch, when he had made trial of them, made known to his mistress that they asked a large price for their slave. And she sent another eunuch, saying, Even though they demand 2 minas, give them, do not spare the gold, only buy the boy and bring him to me. And he gave them 80 pieces of gold for 5 me, and told the Egyptian woman that 100 pieces had been given. And though I knew this, I held my peace, lest the eunuch should be put to shame. Ye see therefore, my children, what great things I endured, that I should not put my brethren to shame. Do ye also, therefore, love one another, and with long suffering hide ye one another's faults. For Ahiah delighteth in the unity of brethren, and with the purpose of a heart that takes pleasure in love. And when my brethren came into Egypt, they learned that I returned their money unto them, and upbraided them not, and comforted them. And after death of Jacob my father, I loved them more abundantly, and all things whatsoever he commanded I did very abundantly for them. And I suffered them not to be afflicted in the smallest matter. And all that was in my hand I gave unto them. And their children were my children, and my children as their servants. And their life was my life, and all their suffering was my suffering, and all their sickness was my infirmity. My land was their land, and their counsel was my counsel. And I exalted not myself among them in arrogance because of my worldly glory, but I was among them as one of the least. If ye also therefore walk in the commandments of the Most High, my children, he will exalt you there, and will bless you with good things forever and ever. And if anyone seeketh to do evil unto you, do well unto him, and pray for him, and ye shall be redeemed of the Most High from all evil. For behold, ye see that out of my humility and long-suffering I took unto wife the daughter of the priest Heliopolis. And 100 talents of gold were given me with her, and the Most High made them to serve me. And he gave me also beauty as a flower beyond the beautiful ones of Israel. And he preserved me unto old age in strength and in beauty, because I was like in all things to Jacob. Hear ye therefore the vision which I saw. I saw 12 harts feeding, and 9 of them were dispersed. Now the 3 were preserved, but on the following day they were also dispersed. And I saw that the 3 harts became 3 lambs, and they cried unto the Most High. And he brought them forth into a flourishing and well-watered place. He brought them out of the darkness into light. And they cried unto the Most High, until they gathered together unto them the 9 harts, and they became as 12 sheep. And after a little time they increased and became many flocks. And after these things I saw, and behold, 12 bulls were sucking 1 cow, which produced a sea of milk, and there drank thereof the 12 flocks and innumerable herds. And the horns of the 4th bull went up unto heaven, and became as a wall for the flocks. And in the midst of the 2 horns there grew another horn. And I saw a bull calf, which surrounded them 12 times, and it became a help to the bulls wholly. And I saw in the midst of the horns a virgin, wearing a many-colored garment, and from her went forth a lamb, and on his right was as it were a lion, and all the beasts and all the reptiles rushed against him, and the lamb overcame them and destroyed them. And the bulls rejoiced because of him, and the cow and the harts exulted together with them. And these things must come to pass in their season and days. And do ye, my children, honor Levi and Judah, for from them shall rise the salvation of Israel. For his kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, which shall not pass away. But my kingdom among you shall come to an end as a watcher's hammock, which after the summer disappeareth. For I know that after my death the Egyptians will afflict you, but Ahiah will avenge you, and will bring you into that which he promised to your fathers. But ye shall carry up my bones with you. For when my bones are being taken up thither, the Most High shall be with you in light, and Beliar shall be in darkness with the Egyptians. And carry ye up Zilpah your mother, and nigh to Bilhah, by Hippodrome, lay her near Rachel. And when he said these things, he stretched out his feet, and died at a good old age. And all Israel mourned for him, and all Egypt with great mourning. And when the children of Israel went out of Egypt, they took with them the bones of Joseph, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers. And the years of his life were 110 years. 10 years. 10 years. All right. So if y'all are still awake right now, I just want to say y'all have a blessed night. I hope that there was some edification that came from you listening to this being read. Maybe you read along with me. I don't know. Again, if you wrote down the verses and you read the verses and you want to expound on that, do it in the comments. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed night. All praises to Ahiah, Warawat Kadash, Bahashim Yeshaya. Shalom.